Strangers from Hell is one of the most intriguing shows I have ever watched. Maybe it's because the hair is always giving, or maybe it's the height, or maybe it's the smile. I don't know. Maybe it's the carefully crafted details that went into the whole production. If you haven't watched it, do. Just do it. Anyway, Jong-woo tells us this is a story he started writing while he was living in the residence. Straight up, we know for a fact he will mix things up. He tells us what happened to him in the same breath he tells us what he is writing. The situation becomes one like a collision of two universes, the real world he is in and the novel he is writing. He blends these events well to an extent that we don't know what is real and what is not, and in the end we don't actually know what happened. Like I said, he mixes up reality and imagination and makes it hard for you to distinguish the two, but once you get the slightest hint, everything falls into place. One of the things he makes up is the characters, and one character that stood out for me is the lady cop. I believe she doesn't exist. How do I know this? Well, it's all in the details. The showrunners did a good job at highlighting details that we would easily miss, and I love them for that. Without seeing what they are showing, we might end up thinking the show is ridiculous with all the manner of plot holes and excuses, but once you get the details, you realize just how genius it actually is. In episode 1, she goes to see the dentist, and after the procedure, as she waits, she looks at his accolades. She is specifically looking at the photo of the dentist volunteering with the police. Next photo is with him volunteering with the elderly, and in it are the twins and the landlady. However, when we get his reveal at the end of episode 2, the dentist looks at the second photo as he talks on the phone. Where did the photo of him with the police go? We see the same photo of him with the police when she goes to see him in episode 7. How is it that there's a different photo when she's around and a different one when she's not? In episode 5, Jong-woo gets drunk, gets into a fight, gets thrown into a taxi, and ends up in the police station passed out. He wakes up, receives a text from his girlfriend telling him she's at the residence. Fearing for his girlfriend's life, he takes the lady cop with him to rescue her. He gets her out, they argue, and she leaves in the police car. Next morning, he gets into a fight with the pervert and the twins. The dentist asks him to look at the CCTV camera, which shows him drunk and aggressive to the residents. Which begs the question, what actually happened that night? Did he come with the lady cop to rescue his girlfriend? Or did he just get home drunk, harass his neighbors, and go to sleep? His girlfriend does not mention the incident to the CEO when they meet that night, and neither does she mention it when she texts him the next morning. Evidently, the whole thing did not happen. In episode 5, the lady cop goes to investigate the 4th floor where the psychic lady is tied up. Let's ignore all the unrealisticness of this whole scenario and focus on how the psychic lady is tied up. Like I said, it's all in the details. She is taped, hands against the chair. But then we saw her in episode 4, hands against chair, tape across the chest, which is exactly how she is tied up in episode 5 when Jong-woo and the dentist walk upstairs. Why will she be tied differently when the cop is in the picture? Is that a subtle way of denying the incident? In the last episode, Jong-woo calls the lady cop and tells her he is heading inside the residence where his girlfriend is locked up. She tells him he was right, those people are criminals. Why in the world does she decide to go alone to a residence full of criminals with a taser gun as her weapon. Even Ajuma is amused. She had a whole squad with her. Why could she not? You're telling me this man was stabbed, got his teeth pulled out, his throat sliced, and still managed to stay alive? Why is he in the basement? If the basement was there from the very beginning, why not use it? Why use a room that doesn't even have a lock to kill and torture people when you can do that in the basement without having to worry about making noise and breaking the rules? No one would know or even suspect a thing down there, which is why I refuse to believe they used the basement. And it makes sense that the only people locked down there are a dead man and a made up policewoman. The patrol division received a call that the ankle monitor was broken. If the lady cop did not break it, then who did? Well, it's simple. The pervert. We know he has been trying to get rid of it from the very moment we see him. We know for a fact they were planning to leave. And if he was going to leave, the anklet had to go. The officer said he'd call after 10 minutes. What if he called 10 minutes later, and when the pervert did not answer, he sent the patrol division to check out what was happening, and that's how they came to find the murders. The anklet went off, he broke it and ran away. The last time we see him is when he leaves with the twin in the police car. Twin comes back later and finds Ajuma dead. The twin is coming back now, but he left with the pervert. But the pervert is in the basement, dead. How does that make sense? Anyway, I feel like the pervert is very vital in understanding the ending of the story, and I plan to touch on that more when I do my next video, which will be me trying to explain how I understood the ending. And I hope I'll see you there. So yeah, see you.